Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is the 1st of September, September 1st, 2021. I hope you're all COVID free today. I hope you're healthy. I hope the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, and health are being met. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field every day, trying to save lives, oftentimes at the expense of their own. Blessings upon those that pick up garbage for us to keep our places clean. Blessings upon those also that make deliveries for our convenience and little pay. Double blessings on those trying to deliver, help, respond to, save boys and girls, men and women, children, teenagers from child prostitution, child pornography, pedophilia, child molestation that happens all over the United States in many multiple thousands of houses and all over the world. Blessings upon those trying to deliver these innocent ones from these disgusting industries, and double curses on those that support these industries. Finally, blessings upon those that are trying to help the homeless. 600,000 people, men, women, children, families, veterans in the United States, and millions around the world, including places like Haiti and the Philippines, with no roof over their head and oftentimes no way of knowing where their next meal is coming from. Blessings upon them and those that are trying to help them, for theirs is the kingdom. Today I want to discuss, going into the season, the New York Knicks defense. Last year, the Knicks were first in opponents' points per game, only allowing about 105 points a game. That's number one in the NBA. Overall, they were third in the NBA in defensive rating at 108. They were plus 2.4 last year. Offensively last year, we want to discuss a little bit of that. Offensively last year, the Knicks were 23rd out of 30 offensive rating, 110.6. They only scored about 107 points a game. That was 26th out of 30 teams last year, 107 points a game. So they scored 107 and gave up 105. Okay. Now, last year, as we know, the starting five was Elfrid Payton at the point guard. You had Julius Randle. You had Reggie Bullock. And we started with Mitchell Robinson, and then he got hurt. And the last 40 games of the season pretty much was Nerlens Noel and into the playoffs. So we had Nerlens Noel. This year, we expect to have Mitchell Robinson back at full strength for this year. And that's going to be a game changer, as we mentioned in previous videos. We expect to have Julius Randle, the incoming most improved player in the NBA. All-NBA, All-Star from last year. We expect him to be back, as well as RJ Barrett, now entering season 3 at age 21. First two seasons for RJ was 19 and 20. Now he is 21 in his third season, and he is a veteran on the New York Knicks. We are now replacing Reggie Bullock with Evan Fournier. We're replacing Elfrid Payton with Kemba Walker. Okay? Now, defensively, how will this affect the Knicks? Generally speaking, if you were to ask the casual NBA observer, even some that are really into the NBA, about the defense of Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier, they would probably say the range would probably be anywhere from not very good to decent. That's what you would get if you asked about them. Nobody would ever mistake either Kemba Walker or Evan Fournier for an all-NBA defensive player. This is not their strength. They can play NBA level defense. Okay, but they're not all NBA level defenders. So, and why do I say that? Well, because Mitchell Robinson has the talent to be an all NBA defender. So does RJ Barrett, and so does our main guy, Julius Randle. So that being the case, and then of course, the bench pretty much returns intact. You're getting Alec Burks back. You're getting Nerlens Noel back. You're getting Obi Toppin back. You're getting Taj Gibson back. Of course, Derrick Rose, and then Emmanuel Quickley. So your bench, your 10-man rotation is pretty much going to be the same. The difference is main difference is Kemba and Evan Fournier. Now, how does that affect the Knicks this year? Well, generally speaking, when players willingly come to a team, they are willingly not only accepting that team, that city, they're accepting that culture. This is different than when a player is actually traded to a place. Players that are traded don't really, generally speaking, have a say in where they're being traded to. So therefore, they don't have a say in whether they like the new team or dislike the new team, whether they like the new culture or dislike the new culture. They have no say in that. They're being traded. Like when Kemba Walker was traded to Oklahoma City before coming to the Knicks in a buyout situation, he had no say in where he was going. That's generally the case. But when a player chooses, as Kemba chose to accept the buyout and come to New York, as Evan Fournier chose the New York Knicks over other teams that were interested in him, they're also receiving the culture of the team. Particularly this is true of veteran players that understand the NBA, that understand the coaching staffs, that's been around for a minute. So that when Jimmy Butler goes to the Miami Heat and signs a sign and trade deal, he understands what the Miami Heat culture is. He understands what they're expecting. He understands what Eric Spoelstra is expecting, and he's buying in by going there. Okay? When somebody like LaMarcus Aldridge signs with the San Antonio Spurs from the Portland Trailblazers in his prime, he understands there's a culture in San Antonio. There's certain things Popovich expects. There's certain things that the team, the organization expects, and he's buying into that by signing there. So, with the New York Knicks, when Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier joined the Knicks of their own volition, they're deciding, they're buying into Tom Thibodeau. They're buying into the culture. And that played a big role, not only in their signing, but in the re-signing of Julius Randle for a cheaper contract. That played a big role in the continuity that we're now seeing. We basically lost Reggie Bullock. We got to upgrade in Evan Fournier. We lost Elfrid Payton. We got to upgrade in Kemba Walker. So you have to expect that the defense that Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier are committed to playing are going to be probably on the highest level of their career at this point, being that they're playing for a very well-known defensive coach who has established a culture of a defensive team. But that being the case, let's assume for the sake of argument that the Knicks will not be as good defensively this year as they were last year. So last year, they only gave up 105 points a game. Let's assume for the sake of argument, they give up 108 points a game this year. Let's assume they do that. I still expect the Knicks to be in the top 10 because this is a Tom Thibodeau team. So you're going to get a top 10 defensive team regardless. I still expect that to be the case. So let's assume they're somewhere 107, 108 points a game they give up. Okay? It is evident by most people that will observe, and you ask most people around the NBA or anybody that really watches NBA basketball, offensively speaking, Evan Fournier is a major upgrade from Reggie Bullock. Reason is because Evan Fournier not only has the ability, he's about a 40% three-point shooter for his career. Close to that if he's not that. You've got to be in that 38 to 40% range. Not only that, but he can go off the dribble. Reggie Bullock could not, period. He could not go off the dribble. If you didn't catch Reggie Bullock on a catch and shoot, he wasn't going to go off the dribble. He wasn't going to cut back door off it very often. He did it sometimes, but not very often when he's off the ball. So he wasn't a great spacer and mover as far as ball movement and stuff like that. If they were double teaming Julius and Julius could find, which he liked to do, find Bullock for open jump shots, Bullock would get open shots and he would knock down. He knocked down 40% clip last year. Evan Fournier can do that, but also add more pressure to the defense by going to the basket. Okay. And of course, Kemba Walker is multiple times better than Elfrid Payton. Elfrid Payton could get to the basket. He wasn't very good at finishing. He wasn't a good shooter. Okay. And so you have an increase in the offensive output on Kemba's side by multiple levels. Okay. So what I'm saying is overall, you're not going to be hurt too much on the defense, but offensively, there's no way they're going to finish this year 26th out of 30 offensively. Okay. So the Knicks, you can expect, let's go with 107 points a game that they'll give up. You're probably going to get, because you're talking about Evan Fournier, a career 14 points scorer. Kemba Walker, a career 20-point scorer. Julius Randle, a career 18, 20-point scorer. RJ Barrett, a career 16-point scorer. Okay. So you're talking about guys that, and then there's a difference between shooters and scorers. Scorers find a way to get their baskets. Shooters are pretty much like your Davis Bertans or your Reggie Bullocks. They're going to spot up. They're looking for a place to catch and shoot. Those are your shooters. Okay. They're not very good at shooting off the bounce. Sometimes they're like a JJ Redick is excellent at moving without the basketball, but they're moving to set up a situation where they can get an open catch and shoot opportunity. Okay. Those are your shooters. Your scorers sometimes do that, like Evan Fournier and Kemba Walker and Julius Randle. But when you look up at the scoreboard, they may not have had a lot of open shots like that, but they end up with their points anyway, like RJ Barrett. You're going to see an increase in RJ Barrett's game because RJ Barrett can play, well, put it this way. If you remember him at Duke, when he played with Zion and Cam Reddish, 3 McDonald's All-Americans, top recruits coming out of their classes. And in fact, I think RJ was the number 1 recruit. His game was elevated playing with really good players. This is going to be the first year you're actually going to see RJ Barrett with NBA level spacing. He has not had that in the first 2 seasons that he played because of the deficiencies at the point guard spot, the deficiencies in his first year of the shooting, and then this past year of people being able to move without the basketball or go off the dribble. You're going to see more NBA level spacing for RJ Barrett this year than you've seen in the first 2 seasons that he played. That is going to make a tremendous difference in his ability to score. What you're going to see also is more easy baskets this year than you've seen in the past because of the fact that you have offensive threats at every position, including Mitchell Robinson, because if you don't watch Mitchell Robinson, he's going to kill you on the pick and roll. He's going to kill you on the lobs. You got to go, and one guy can't do it. And to keep him off because Mitchell Robinson's a really good rebounder, to keep him off the offensive glass, you're going to need 2 guys. Okay. So that's going to open up opportunities for the other players. And that's going to open up more space, and you're going to get more easy baskets, backdoor cuts. You're going to have, now you have a point guard that's going to keep his head up. You're going to get full length court passes for easy baskets. The more easy baskets a team gets, the more efficient they become, the better chance they have of winning the game. So when you combine the Tom Thibodeau level defense, which may not be as good as it was last year, but it's not going to be that far off from and then you include a vastly improved offense. So for example, we play the Atlanta Hawks. Let's assume for the sake of argument that Kemba Walker can't adequately guard Trae Young. Well, Trae Young cannot adequately guard Kemba Walker either. Okay? So last year, the Atlanta Hawks were able to hide Trae Young. How did they do it? They just put him on Reggie Bullock, who was not going to post him up, who was not going to take him off the dribble, who was not going to move and get open without the basketball. He was going to look for a spot of opportunity. Well, Trae Young, all he had to do was block that, which he did. Block off the spot of opportunities and lock up Reggie Bullock. Okay. Then they double teamed Julius. And now he had no Reggie Bullock to pass to. All right. This year, Trae Young can't do that. He's got to guard because we have 5 players on the floor that can score on him in a variety of ways. Okay. So now he's got to guard somebody. So does Kemba. Okay. So you're battling, those 2 guys are battling it. And then you're depending on your supporting cast, both sides of the ball, defensively and offensively. Now, this is not just with Atlanta. I'm just using Atlanta because that's who we lost to in the playoffs. But you could take any top tier team that, whether it's Brooklyn, Philly, Miami, whatever top tier team you want to name, that's going to be the game that's being played. Okay. And then as time goes on, of course, Tom Thibodeau's going to play his first 10 guys heavy minutes. There's always going to be injuries. You're going to get sprained ankles. You're going to get sore this. You're going to get sore Achilles, sore this, sore hips, whatever. So now you're going to end up seeing more Deuce McBride. And when you start seeing Deuce McBride on defense in Madison Square Garden, there's going to be some interesting stuff going on. See, so, and don't let Deuce McBride show like he showed in the Summer League, that he can hit the 3 off the dribble and hit the 3 on the spot up as well. If he does that with what we have, the Knicks are going to be very good. We're not going to slip so much defensively that is going to hurt us, that is going to make any difference. The Knicks will still be top 10. Last year, I predicted top 10 defense. I did not predict number one defense, but I still predict this year top 10 defense, top 10 offense. The Knicks are going to be top 10 on both sides of basketball this year. That alone is going to create a bigger, see the difference here, the net rating. In other words, the difference between what they gave up and what they scored this past season was 2.3 points per game. Okay. So they scored 2.3 points per game more than they gave up. That ratio should spread. I'm thinking 5 points a game. 5 to 7 points a game should be the spread between what they score and what they give up. That's going to make the Knicks a very good team. East or West. It's going to make the Knicks very good. So the key thing here, we have the personnel, we have the depth right now. The key thing here is injuries. Okay. And the depths are going to help us with the injuries. You're also going to need, on these long road trips, you're going to need Deuce McBride to play. You're going to need your bench, and you're going to need Deuce McBride. Okay. You're going to need, again, we talked about a healthy Mitchell Robinson, but a healthy Mitchell Robinson pushes us into the top 4 in the East. And then you still have a Nerlens Noel and a very reliable Taj Gibson as backups, in those positions. It would be nice to get some really efficient minutes from Obi Toppin. We're going to see. Obi played very good in the Summer League. My concern for Obi in the Summer League was that he does not play with a passing point guard that can look for him when he's running and set him up. He's not going to look very well because he's going to be in positions that's not into his strengths. Obi's strengths is running the floor, to pick and roll, getting the ball on the run, getting the ball when he's moving, and get backdoors, lobs. That's the kind of game you get from Obi Toppin, but he needs a point guard that will see him. So now we got Kemba Walker, we got Derrick Rose, we got Deuce McBride. IQ is not that point guard. A lot of times he missed Obi over the summer, and it wasn't because Obi wasn't open. It wasn't because he couldn't get the ball to him. He wasn't looking. And I'm not down in IQ. IQ is a tremendous two guard. Okay? Two guards don't have to be looking for players. Two guards looking to score. They're looking to attack. That's IQ. So it's going to be interesting in that regard. But if we can get Obi the ball in places that he needs to get it, when he needs to get it, when he's running the floor and he's hustling like the way he does, that's going to add to our bench in a tremendous way. So the Knicks already have a very strong starting five. They got a very strong bench. They've added offensive firepower. There's a Tom Thibodeau culture of defense already established. So like I said again, I don't think Evan Fournier and Kemba Walker are going to hurt that too much. Coming into a culture, they understand what to expect. And during the press conference, both of them expressed that they know Thibodeau from a long time, and they both know how he plays, and they know what to expect. This is not going to be a surprise to them. From training camp on, they're going to know what to expect. This is very good. And this helps with the rest of the squad. The other 8 guys that's in the rotation are all here from last year. Okay? So it's a continuity with an improvement. So I'm really high on the Knicks' chances this year. Again, I predicted 50 games. Some people, and I'm being conservative, they could win more. I'm not really going less. They could win more. I hear some people saying 46, 48. Okay, fine. I'm not going to argue with you, but don't be surprised if they exceeded 50, because they have that type of team. And the fact is, everybody's sleeping on them. The media is sleeping on them. People sleeping on them. And that actually works in our favor. Come into Madison Square Garden, or let us come into your arena and think that you're just going to beat us because we're the Knicks. And watch what happens. Okay? So not only that, there's a big national televised schedule for the Knicks. So they're going to be on national TV a lot this year. More than they've been in a long time. So a lot of people are going to see the Knicks. So they're not going to be a surprise for long. But they're going to surprise some people because they're much better than people think. The defense is not going to suffer as badly as people might think, losing an Elfrid Payton and a Reggie Bullock. But the offense is also going to get much better. So I'm being conservative. Top 10 on offense, top 10 on defense, 50 plus wins, probably a 5 to 7% differential this year. They're going to look very good. The Knicks are going to be very good. The only thing that can stop the Knicks is injuries. And so even that, I'm not as concerned because of the depth that we have. So, yeah, we're looking pretty good this year. And I'm going to be going on vacation tomorrow. I'll be away for about 10 days, so there won't be any more content for a minute. And then when I come back, I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of stuff out there to address. Knicks training camp starts in September 28th. Looking forward to that. Here we are in September. It's going to be here before we know it. And within like that week, you're going to get some preseason games. Of course, October 20th starts the regular season. So here we go, y'all. We getting ready for that next phase. And so for right now, you guys going to be a little bit dead period, but that's what you got to do when you're in the off season for a minute. So anyway, y'all be safe out there. Today is Wednesday. Be safe on this Wednesday. Enjoy. Work hard. We're at hump day. Shalom.